It took them a year to figure out my talent, which I think they made up so Wool would continue to do stuff for free. You're just gonna have to deal with my W, okay? Peek is our writer, the headmistress declared one day, holding up an essay I'd scrawled out that morning as I gulped down a bowl of cereal before leaving for school. I would have preferred to be their climber, but GSS doesn't recognize sports as a worthy human endeavor, I think. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I like GSS. The students and teachers are a quirky bunch and wildly entertaining. I've even managed to learn some things there. The problem is that I don't have any friends at the school. This isn't anyone's fault, really. My main interest is climbing. The other students are interested in things like number theory, what kind of gut to use on their violin or cello bows. I think it's cello. Yeah, cello. Or cello bows. And painting techniques. Anyway, this is how I got hooked up with Vincent. As the school's English teacher, he got stuck with the job of mentoring the alleged writer. He unwrapped one of the moleskins and showed me how there was a little pocket in the back to store notes and how the elastic band stretched to mark his place or hold the notebook closed. I brought you a pen, but they would not let me give it to you. They were afraid you would write on your wall with it. I think they were probably more afraid that I would use it to stab somebody, more likely would take it away and stab me with it. I will see what I can do about getting you something to write with. He always spoke slowly. I'll read that again, guys. It said slowly. I'll see what I can do about getting you something to write with, Vincent said. He always spoke slowly. Enunciating. Oh, you guys can say it however you want. Each word precisely. And I had never heard him use a contraction. Some of the best literature ever written was composed inside prison cells. I didn't plan on being at JDC long enough to compose anything. Whether you come back to school or not, you can still complete this year. I have talked to the headmistress, 4 other authors, and I will evaluate you by the words you put in the notebook. Evaluate meant graduate at GSS. I brought you 2 moleskins in case you write a longer piece. It must be a story, not a diary or a journal. A beginning, middle, and a denouement. What is with these people words? Denouement. Again, you can say however you like. At the end, to tie the story together. The story can be based on your life, someone else's life, or events completely from your imagination. You only have to complete 1 number of moleskins to fulfill your requirement, using some of the writing techniques I have taught you during the past year. I'm coming back to school, I said. He didn't look like he believed me. Regardless, he said, the assignment will remain the same. Later that morning, I had a second visitor, a woman. Long brown hair, pair of blue eyes, olive-colored skin, carrying a garment bag. Sorry, guys. Again, this is morning. I'm waiting for somebody to come. Later that morning, I had a second surprise. Sorry, guys. Really sorry. A woman, long brown hair, pair of blue eyes, olive-colored skin, carrying a garment bag. She was short, but powerfully built, with good muscle tone in her arms, aside from a slight stiffness in her back, which you'd have to know her to notice. The only flaw she had were her hands. They were scarred from years of climbing. Sorry, I couldn't get out here sooner, Mom said. With the twins and the attorney's aunt. That's okay, I interrupted. JDC was at least an hour and a half drive from our loft in Manhattan, in addition to everything else. Mom worked full-time at a bookstore she and a friend owned. Still, I would have liked to have seen her before this. She walked over to where I was sitting and looked at the scabs on my face. Ugly, she said. Thanks. Sorry, that's just kind of funny. Ugly, she said. Thanks. She started pacing. How are the twins? They haven't stopped crying since you got busted. I winced. There was one thing that upset my mom, but I didn't like upsetting Patrice, and Paula. I do not know how to say that one word. 2 peas in a pod, as Mom and Wolf. I'm going to stick with it, Wolf called them, or Pee-Pee, as I called them, which always made them giggle. They were 6 years old and looked up to the third P, me, like I was a god. You really done it this time, Peak. 6 skyscrapers? They're going to eat you up and spit you out. Wolf has crashed in every favor he has in the city, but I don't think any of it is going to work. He got your arraignment delay, and tried for a second delay. I'd seen my mom agitated before, but I'd never seen her like this. She was pacing in a small holding cell, like a caged leopard, hoping that the publicity would die down. But after last night, that's all down the tube. The district attorney, who Wolf went to school with, and the judge nixed that idea. Wait, I said. What happened last night? She stopped pacing and glared at me with her mouth open and her eyes wide. You didn't hear? I shook my head. A boy fell from the... Sorry, guys. That was, dramatic pause. Whatever. A boy fell from the Flatiron building, he said. I stared at her. What does that have to do with you? She yelled. Sorry, guys, she yelled. You might want to turn down your speakers for this. I stared at her. What does that have to do with you? She yelled. It's because of you, Peak. The boy had all your news articles pinned up in his bedroom. He had a can of blue spray paint in his pack. He had never been climbing in his entire life, which explains why he only made it up 75 feet. But the fall was enough to kill him, and enough to keep you in jail for the next 3 years. What? I was on my feet now. Unbelievable! She let out a harsh laugh. You're circling the drain, Peak, and you don't even know it. Circling the drain? A term from our past lives out west. I hadn't heard it in years. What do you mean, 3 years? And 3 months, she said. That's when you'll be 18. I started pacing now. All I did was climb the Woolworth building, and I started pacing now. All I did was climb the Woolworth building. I didn't brag about it or post it on the internet. It was my little secret, my way of... Well, I didn't know exactly why I had done it. I felt bad about the other boy, but it wasn't my fault. Did you tell Dad? I asked, meaning my real dad. Not Wolf. Sorry, guys. I asked, meaning my real dad, not Wolf. This elicited another harsh laugh. He's in the plow. I left him a message with a Sherpa who barely spoke a word of English. I'm not even sure why I called him. Desperation, I guess? She took a deep breath. Look, I have to go. Wolf and I are meeting with the attorneys. Attorneys? I thought Wolf would be my attorney. Wait. That sounded like he was talking. He's not talking, guys. I'm really messing up here. I thought Wolf would be my attorney. 2 of them. Wolf can't represent you. He's your stepfather. Conflict of interest. Do you think... Her whole demeanor changed when she noticed how scared I was. She softened, and her pale blue eyes filled with tears. I hope so, Peak, she said proudly. But I'm not optimistic. The city wants to make an example out of you. She turned away and wiped her eyes. Then she handed me the garment back. This is a suit. You'll have to wear it tomorrow. And I talked to them downstairs. a barber is going to come and cut your hair sometime this afternoon.